Question is, what do you do to know what's going to happen in the future? Now, there's a couple of different forms of divination. One happens spontaneously, where a visionary gets a vision, an actual vision. And I've gotten this several times in my life, and it's really a movie that just plays in your mind. You're talking to somebody and you know what's going on in your mind as if somebody was rolling a movie camera in your mind. And it's that clear. And even though you're talking to somebody, this thing's playing in your mind. And it's a spontaneous thing. It's a spontaneous vision. It comes from the God or the spirit world or whatever. And then there's another form of divination to know the future. And that's when you develop a skill, like you develop numbers, how to do numerology or astronumerology or astrology or whatever. And you study the science to the point where you become very intuitive with it. In other words, from trial and error and from doing numerous amounts of people, you start developing some real insight into what's going to happen. When you see these two numbers come together, you know that this is going to happen. And you start seeing patterns. And that's why myself, I use astronumerology, I use numerology, and my favorite is, besides that, which is also my favorite, is a regular deck of playing cards, the 52 cards that people gamble with. And what happens is they have number sequences, like you have an 8 and a 9, a 6 and a 7, whatever, that come together. And after a while, when you see different patterns, it has a meaning to you. That pattern means something. And you experiment with it, and all of a sudden you're able to make a prognostication based on the pattern of the cards or the pattern of the birth numbers when you figure out the cycle that somebody's in, and you're starting to ascertain the future. And as well as what happens is you get this intuitive sense, and when you look at that pattern that so-and-so is going to happen, you just know the person's going to move, or an illness is going to come up, or they're going to be traveling or whatever. And after a while, you actually have a sense of knowing, which is psychic, really. When somebody's intuitive, they have a hunch, a feeling, premonition, whatever. That's actually the psychic part of the skill, and you can develop that with practice. It was hard. When I first started so many years ago, I used to throw playing cards on a table, and I would do it by the hour. My father, who had no understanding of such things, said all he does is throw cards on the table. Look at him. He has nothing better to do. But throwing those cards on the table and looking at them, and of course I studied a bunch of books on what to do with the cards and how to lay them out and so forth. It looked very random to him, but it wasn't random. And all of a sudden, I was trying it with my own life, and I started seeing that a lot of things that I saw in these number and card patterns actually happened. And I was surprised myself, and I stuck with it. And after a while, I was able to do somebody's birthday and put in the cycle that it belonged, and I would be so intuitive with it, I would know what's happening. And then I said to myself, let me do this with the birthday of the United States. Let me do this with the birthday of Donald Trump. Let me do this with the birthday of Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. And I would do the United States' birthday as if I was doing a person. And the things that I started seeing in the numbers started happening in the country. And it takes a while. It's a lot of work, and you have to be confident with it. And you know when you're getting a feeling, a hunch, you just know it. and it comes in time. And after a while, I tell people when I put down a bunch of regular playing cards, it becomes a movie. It stops becoming cards. When I start seeing these patterns and numbers, I know something's happening. It becomes a movie in my mind. And if I'm doing the United States, it's a movie about the United States. If I'm doing Donald Trump, it's a movie about him. And what happened was, with the number patterns, with the birthday and the cycle he's in, I was able to say 3 or 4 years in advance that he would be a one-term president. And because I've studied the number patterns so much that he was a revolutionary type, and then again, January 6th happened, and I knew a black female was going to be on the Biden ticket, or be the president or vice president. And I've made future predictions about that, which we'll see if that comes to pass. But so far, a lot of my United States predictions, my predictions about Donald Trump, have come to pass. But do the cards, do the numbers, get used to it, get the feelings about it, get this intuitive hunch type of thing. You know when it's happening. And I know when I'm going in an altered state of consciousness. After a while, you practice so much and you cross the line from the tool that you're using into the psychic, and the line disappears, and you go into the psychic very easily.